Hi there. I'm not causing controversy for the sake of it. I've just got too much gear. Now, I know what you're thinking. He's got too much gear. He must have too much money. Well, I can afford the gear that I need, whatever that may be. But justifying it is a different matter. Okay, so my main kit, pardon me for reaching, is Sony. I have two A7R5 bodies, the brand new 85mm Mark II, which is pretty damn good. There's one of the bodies with one of my other lenses, 24. Now, I have these big yellow letters on the or numbers on the lenses because I use three different systems with different sensor formats. So I always talk in terms of what it does in 35mm. So that's one A7R4 with a 24, and then another A7R5 rather, with the 51.2. These are all absolutely superb lenses, and I couldn't ask more of them, apart from being half the size. Now the Sonys, I don't love them. In fact, I hate them. Every time I use them, I think, bristling with knobs and buttons that I don't need, options in the menu that I don't need, I don't want, video options, I never need those. This video is being filmed on a Pocket Osmo 3, which is a lovely little device, and that's all the video capability that I need. So back to the A7R5 and those three lenses that I use the most, 24, the 50, and if I had access to one, I'd have a 105 rather than the 85. But those are my three main lenses. I have three other lenses. They're all primes, and they get used for special occasions. I don't mind the lack of user friendliness. If I'm going out to a job which includes some of my specialisms, for instance dance, I can guarantee that every shot I take, well, pretty much 98-99%, the A7R5s will have those eyes in focus. And I shoot contemporary dance, and that's quite challenging because sometimes the dancers move very quickly across the field, difficult to track, but the A7R5s make it a dream. In other circumstances, such as demonstrations, which I do cover, again, they bring home the bacon. Incidentally, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't really like thinking of bringing home the bacon, but the Sonys do it. And they do a great job, but they're not tools that I like to pick up. And as soon as I can put them down and use something smaller or more friendly or something nice to use, I will do it. I'll put them in the bag and I'll never think of them until the next job. On the other hand, I have some Leicas. Here's one with the 28 on, so that's a Q2, as you might realise, or a Q2 monochrome, as you can see by the markings on the body. This thing is an absolute delight to pick up, and I find myself actually looking at it when I'm not using it and thinking, nice camera. I didn't buy this because it's an object of, it's not a piece of jewellery. I do use it. I use it heavily and regularly, mainly on the street. In addition to the 28, I have a 43, Q3 43, similarly decked out with its identifying focal length, and easy to tell them apart without looking at the body colour, which isn't that obvious when you're trying to work quickly. They look identical from a distance, and they produce identical results as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not interested in the colour images that the 43 produces. I reduce my images to black and white, as you'll see in my other videos. In addition to that, because I need that 85mm focal length. I have an SL2 with the Sigma 85 1.4, which is a pretty good lens. The problem is all that weight. The SL2 weighs an absolute ton. Believe me, if you've never picked it up, it weighs a ton. Well, not 2,240 pounds, but you know what I mean. 1,000 kilos. Okay, so by now you're thinking, who is this bloke? He's totally spoilt. He's got Sony gear, he's got Leica gear. I've also got my own old Fuji gear. The one body that I've kept from when I used to use Fuji, the XE4, with a lovely little light meter on the top, which bears no. It doesn't get used. It just looks nice. There you go. I said it. It looks nice. And with that, in addition to that 28mm lens that you just saw, then I have the 35. That's the 23. The 20. That's the 14. The 90, which is the 85, which is the 56, if you see what I mean, and the 55, which is the lovely old 35mm 1.4. It's actually a 55mm f2, but who's counting? And you'll see I've had these lenses since Fuji released them. So the 55, you can see how worn out that is. I still use these lenses and the camera. I take these where I think I might not be welcome. Enough said about that. So the eagle-eyed amongst you might spot some of my other former gear in the background. I tend not to get rid of gear, so I have a big a Toyo 5.4 up there, or 4.5 if you're watching in America. Nikon F with all the old non-AI lenses. Yes, I did start in 1972, so I actually bought non-AI lenses new. Ooh. So the Nikon F, the Nikon F2, lovely piece of kit. The Nikon F3, if I could go back to any camera at any time, that's what I'd have. I'd have the 24mm, the 50mm, and the 105, which I used to have with the F3. Obviously, being pro, I'm accustomed to using two bodies, which might seem a bit expensive, but any pro will tell you that you need two bodies if you're serious. No, that sounds terrible, because it sounds like anybody who's got one body isn't doing a serious job. I didn't mean that, but I think you get my drift. You've got to have a backup. You can't go to the Olympic Games and not have a backup. At this point, some of you might be saying, well, you didn't have a backup of your negatives and the prints that you had in the dark room that you set fire to. That's very true. I could laugh about it now. I didn't laugh about it at the time, and it wasn't me who set fire to it anyway. It was a little dog. For any animal lovers out there, the little dog, he got away with it. He didn't die in the flames. He lived a long and happy life afterwards. And I forgave him, because what can you do? Okay, so by now you're probably losing sympathy with me, because, oh dear, I have to decide what gear to take out the door when I go out. And that is my quandary. I have got too much gear, and actually I would get rid of all of it and exchange it for a fast 24, a fast 50, and a fast 105 preferably, or an 85, that I loved. That was my automatic choice when I was going out the door. I knew I have one bag. That there's another story there, the number of photo bags, but I'm sure you've suffered from the bagophilia, and I would love to be able to pick up that single bag and take those three lenses and that one body and go out the door knowing that I'm going to be able to do the job that I want to. It has to be fast. Focusing has to be spot on, like the Sonys. Has to be beautiful, like the Leicas, or dispensable, like the Fujifilms for dangerous situations. Okay, so I'm not after sympathy, but it'd be great if some of you commenters would be able to suggest what I might do. The possibility, I have thought about this, and it goes against everything that I've just said, is the Hasselblad X2D with effectively a 20mm lens, a 40mm lens, and a 70mm. That would pretty much cover it, but it wouldn't work for demonstrations. It wouldn't work for dance. It wouldn't work for theatre photography, all of which I need my gear to cover. It's agonising. Time in the digital age was probably when I had two Fuji XH1s and pretty much the range of lenses I showed you earlier, with the addition of the 90mm, which was obviously the 135. I could cover all of my stuff with that, but I got sucked into upgrading. Had a phase with the GFX 100 megapixels worth of resolution that I didn't need. I could almost get away with the 26 megapixels on the XE4, but there you go. So what has this been? I suppose it's just been a rant, but I'm hoping that people share my dilemma and they've got ways out of it. I just want 3 lenses. I just want 1 camera, and I just want to go out anywhere. It's got to be light, it's got to be fast. It's got to be a pleasure to look at. I'm not crying. Thank you for watching. Until next time.